everybody. I'm Maxine.
And I'm Isabelle.
And I'm happy alcohol-free.
And I'm always happy as fuck. You never get it. It never gets old.
It never gets old for me. And
is it because I don't say the H? Or is it the as fuck?
I don't know. It's a combination. It's like happy as fuck. It's like, it's awesome. The way you say it is just the greatest. It just makes me smile. It makes me smile.
So how have you been?
I'm good. And it's so good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
This episode will be airing right before Valentine's Day. So we're effectively on a date.
We are. And that's why this morning I searched high and low for something red. All I could find was the Ferrari lipstick my sister gave me, which you cannot find anywhere.
Which, by the way, it's again, I think was the last episode I talked about this, how I'm obsessed with French women.
Yeah.
And when I come back in another life, that's what I'm going to be. French women pull off a red lip like no other person.
Do we?
Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. You can be wearing, a little white t-shirt and sweatpants and a bold red lip, and you're like, she's French.
That's true. That's true. And because I couldn't find something else red, and I was going to be on a date with you, I pulled out this little number and my fuck me boots.
Oh my God. Also, I'm pretty sure you're totally flashing right now.
Maybe those are red. I don't remember what color I put on.
I love how you lifted your leg up. I'm like, I wonder what camera angle's picking that up.
Listen, we're looking for ratings.
That's the reason now for everybody to go to YouTube and watch.
That's when you know you're a certain age, when you're like, I'll try anything to get a view. Woo! Let me show you my old woo-woo.
Well, let me tell you, your outfit is so fantastic.
Thank you. And so do you feel a little hard celebrating
I know. Look,
Valentine's.
I do love a little themed sweater.
This is probably the best way I like to do Valentine's, because I'm certainly not a Valentine's person. And especially, as you know, in our years in the city. That was definitely amateur night, and it sucked. And you know what I mean? And
yeah. But listen, we're going to talk all about this in a moment. But what are we drinking on our date?
Because when I think of Valentine, I think of sex first and love after. So you and I chose. I seriously think that in all the stuff I've ever drank in my life, including booze, this got to be the sexiest bottle
That
ever.
is one of the most beautiful bottles I have ever seen.
This is a champagne. Obviously, it's not a champagne because it doesn't have booze in it. But it's a non-alcoholic champagne, and it is from Champagne, and it's called La Petite Victoire. And I'll tell you that everyone that I've given, first of all, when I walk in a party with that thing, I'm the biggest badass in the room.
It does.
Everyone wants to be my friend.
It looks like, back in the day, the crystal fancy bottles that were really,
move
like,
over
you're a baller.
Move over Wall Street from the 90s.
Correct.
Come, Mama Isabelle, with her fucking
Petite Victoire.
Yeah, Petite Victoire. And
look at that bottle. Look at the detail on the glass.
It's heavy.
Man.
And whenever I've poured this to my boozing friend, when they were still sober, so before they're drunk, they all say, not 90%, 100% of them have said, this is like champagne. Like,
I love it. So I have had this before with you, and you introduced me to this, actually. It is the closest thing to the real thing
absolutely
I've ever tasted. Now, I'm a big French Bloom fan. This has the yeasty,
it's really good.
Cheers. Chin chin, darling. Happy Valentine's Day.
Look, I left some Ferrari red on my glass.
That just looks so sexy.
Right?
All of it. The lipstick on the glass.
Who knows where this is going to go? Never
my
come
husband's
home.
running the sound in there.
Maybe that'll be my first AF walk of shame. Sorry, Andrew. Anywho.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Man, sex in a glass is so good.
It really.
And I read about the guy, I forget his name, and I'm an asshole for not, I've reread it. But he put a lot of effort in developing the champagne, and you can tell.
Yeah.
And the bottle is made, I think the company is called Bouteille, which is a very known, my husband knew them, bottle maker. So it's all sexy all over. And the price point's not bad considering all the work that went into it.
No. And it's special, right? It's special occasion stuff. I mean, I feel like it can be a special occasion any day when it's alcohol-free. Drink whatever the hell you want. But I'm still going through that I will taste everything. And I did, I never want to slam any non-alcoholic brands because I just encourage them because they're
But
few and far between.
Good, yeah.
But I had a couple recently where it literally threw the whole thing out. I was like, okay,
well,
let's discuss
listen, it's the same as booze, right? I mean, I can't name names, but I'm sure you've had a few transatlantic flight where you drank stuff that you're like, why am I drinking this? Oh, there's booze in it, that's why I'll down it, right?
Yes.
But otherwise, you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Okay, so it happens in NA too.
It's like, do you remember in New York, speaking of, back in the day, that 7-Elevens, was it 7-Elevens used to carry that wine?
They had wine?
I don't even know if it was really wine.
It must have not been.
And it was called Chateau Diane.
No, I don't remember that.
It was Chateau something like a name. I wonder if Andrew remembers this.
I remember $2 Chuck from Trader Joe's.
But you could buy this. You could buy this at 2:00 in the morning.
Ew.
Right when you're not allowed to buy liquor. They had these little stands in these 7-Elevens.
Right.
Okay, so people who are New Yorkers who are listening to this, I need you to comment or send us a message because I'm dying to remember what that was. I don't know why I'm thinking Chateau Diane. And it was, and I remember one night, again, I clearly didn't have enough.
Of course not.
I needed one more glass of wine to take home with me and my family-sized bag of peanut M&Ms. And I remember opening that and thinking, wow, I can't believe that passes as something we can actually
So I didn't do
consume.
the 7-Eleven because, if you're going to wear a Ferrari, you're going to keep it to the bodega. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go down to a 7-Eleven. But in my days in Harlem, again, no disrespect to Harlem, but I was living in a not great area of Harlem in the 90s. And they had a wine store, the kind that it's a tiny little closet. You walk in and everything's behind plexiglass and you put your money in the thing.
Oh my God.
And they spin it and they put your bottle.
I mean, we didn't have those in Hell's Kitchen.
This is a real deal.
My time anyway.
This is the real deal. And speaking of Valentines, and we're going to get into bad decisions.
When you say plexiglass, it's like bulletproof glass, basically. Okay.
And there goes little skinny white girl, had no business being there, knock, knock, knock. And I was trying to look, and I was a little snob in me, and I'm like, do they have fucking burgundies in here? So I would get
God. Meanwhile, they carry the the $5 flat of or whatever you call that vodka. That's
correct. And they even had wine glasses.
And you're like, what do you got from Bordeaux around the late 80s?
And I would look at what looked like to be the most decent, knock on the window at 2 a.m, coming home from a bad date. Speaking of date, heartbroken. Right? You're like, fuck that. You're already drunk.
Yes.
And at this point, you'll drink anything.
Yep.
Right? And that would be anything. And then you'd put your cash. And the guy with no teeth would spin the thing and put your bottle of Turning Leaf. And I'd be like, this one is too expensive. I'll sell her that one. Give me the Yellowtail. Oh, no, I've had so many of those. And then the next day.
Oh, my God, that's such a blast from the past. Turning Leaf.
Yes. So when you say bad NAs, listen, I don't want to get sued by Turning Leaf, but come on. My dad used to drink La Petite Bicyclette. It's the same
I remember that too because it is a bicycle on the lane.
Horrible. Talk about I'll just put my booze in anything,
God,
right?
That is so funny.
Yeah,
and I just had all of these flashbacks.
Oh,
and
man.
It's, obviously what we want to talk about today is Valentine's Day and love and everything. And I just think it is amazing when you think about dating and not just romantic love. We're talking about all kinds of love and celebrations and everything is so intrinsically linked to alcohol.
Right.
And dating. And when you go back and think about your dates, just what you described, right? You get wasted. It goes wrong. It's we set ourselves up for failure a lot of the time when you're going into it I need to get drunk. And oh gosh, of course it was on the news recently about some celebrity doctor, not a real doctor. I don't know, is Dr. Oz a real doctor? Anyway, I don't know if he's a real doctor. Did he go to medical school?
He's a cardiologist. And when he used to be on Oprah for a second.
Right, that's the only time I ever knew him
I was
on
like,
Oprah.
Okay, this guy.
Oprah, by the way, oh my God, our brains are all over the place right now. But Oprah's quit alcohol.
Yeah, and her friend Gail has been sober for years. I have no idea.
Yes.
But yeah, Dr. House, like at the beginning of his career,
I love that you put an H there where there isn't an H. Yes.
Before, like when he was just doing like he was wearing the blue suit on Oprah and like opening up like Bad Lungs.
Yeah.
I thought he was all right. And then he went off the deep end and like, shit.
But listen, here, I don't want to talk about him or anybody that I don't align with. But here's what they were saying in now removing any recommendations to limit your drinking, you know, because Anheuser-Busch sent them a big check. And
plus they said to eat more butters. I'm all for it.
It's like, oh, I'll take the butter too. But this sense that we have, which is true, this is not fiction.
No.
It is a social lubricant, right?
Absolutely.
And now that's a reasoning to drink.
Right.
Or they're highlighting that as a good reason to drink. So that it is, but that's what we did for decades,
and
hundreds of years, by the way, thousands of years.
By the way, that shows sorry to interrupt, but how deeply we're engrossed in, especially the newer generation, in social media, not talking to each other, because now more than ever, we need a lubricant in order to socialize. Otherwise, we just can't do it.
I completely sympathize.
I get it.
With so many people who have social anxiety, who have, you know, they're like, oh God, I could never go on a date without a drink. Right? I mean, the truth of the matter is, yes, you could, but the need for that, like, Dutch courage, right? All of that liquid courage, all of that stuff that you need to feel like you can go on a date. We all did that.
Right.
And it's like, when I've been thinking about it now, of course, with the benefit of years of wisdom, is we're actually depriving ourselves of the excitement of the process of a first date or a first. Do you know what I mean? It's yes, you have anxiety, but it's good anxiety because it's excitement. And these are all of the things we talked about this in Dopamine Nation, where it's you don't want to feel pain, you don't want to feel anxiety, you don't. Sometimes those things are good and necessary for the human experience.
Absolutely.
And I don't even know. I couldn't tell you how many bad drunken first dates I've had. Like, I mean, it's a large number.
So when I was in New York, I was on and off dating the same bad boy.
Oh, yes.
So a lot of my drunken bad dates were surrounded with that. And then when I was having first date with someone, usually they weren't bad boys. So then for some reason, and then I was like, oh, this is kind of boring. So I'd get drunk and I was like, might as well sleep with them, right?
Yeah.
I made it to dessert. Like, and it wasn't like, and they were like not bad choices and they were good people. They're too good for me. So then I was like, oh, poor guy. Fuck, he paid for dinner. Might as well I put it out. Whereas if I hadn't drank, maybe I would have
tied it up and said,
correct.
This is not working out. It's not.
Correct.
And here's the thing. I mean, gosh, when you think about dating, I'm thinking back, oh my God. So I dated Andrew. So Andrew and I met a week before Valentine's Day.
Okay.
What must be 18 years ago or something. Anyway. And I remember it was such a funny story because when we decided to go out for a drink, because that's what you do.
Right, of course.
It was during Lent.
Oh my God.
And of course, you know, he's from a Jewish family. And he said to me, what's Lent?
Right.
So then I proceed to tell him what Lent is. And I say, you give up, you know, something for 40 days and something that you love. And so I give up alcohol and chocolate. Now, the fact that he didn't turn on his heel right there and then is a miracle. Yeah. But he was like, oh, 40 days. I'm like, I know. And he was like, where are you at in this process? And I'm like, oh, it is early. Like literally Lent, I think, started like 2 days before.
Oh my God.
So, and I was also fresh on my commitment. And I've done the whole Lenten alcohol-free thing for, I don't know, 20 plus years. I've always done it. Some years more successful than others, but always done it, always committed to it. And anyway, he took me to a Japanese restaurant that we both lived in Hell's Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me to this Japanese restaurant because they had an amazing tea menu.
Oh, wow.
And not only did I give up alcohol, I always give up chocolate. So he was like, I found somewhere that has lots of, because it was a dessert, you know, we weren't committing to dinner. It was like drinks so he's like, how about tea and dessert? And I was like, great. So he found this place. And I remember thinking, gosh, being on a date sober.
Like, how was it?
Well, we're fucking married and have 2 kids.
I know, but Brooks and I were drunk as skunks and we're married.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, trust me, when Lent ended,
right.
Andrew and I bonded over our adoration of wine. But like that must have been, oh my God, that must have been the first time. I'm having a total like realization right now, because that might have been the first time I went on a date without alcohol.
I've never done it. I have no idea.
Since my first boyfriend.
Right.
So my first boyfriend in Ireland, who I dated for 3 years.
Right.
And I had never had alcohol at this point. He did drink. Oh my God. Again, it's like I feel like I'm having a therapy session right now.
Well, I'm looking at the clock. You still have 25 minutes.
Okay. Well, we got more than that. So I didn't drink on that date, obviously, because I was, 16 or 17 and I wasn't drinking. I didn't drink for many more years after that. But I think after that, because I went to college in London, I went to grad school, I would say every other date I ever went on in my life until Andrew was drunken.
So by the way, but it would have been an inside joke of myself. You felt like you were in therapy and I was going to go like this. Because my therapist, that I don't have a therapist anymore, but I did it for years in New York, and she was falling asleep.
She was falling asleep?
Yeah.
I thought you were falling asleep.
No, she was falling asleep as I was speaking. And then I referred her to a friend of mine. Then when my friend of mine was going there for a while, I was like, hey, man, does Fran fall like, does she go like this? She's like, no. And I was like, fuck. And it's not like, I've never been accused of being monotone. And I was like, so then I would be like, when she'd go like this, I'd be like, so then.
You're like, okay, every time she had a slow bing.
Yeah.
No, but I love it. It's probably as bad as when I, in my theater days in New York, and you would do 8 shows a week. And on Wednesday matinees are famously.
Because people are coming from lunch?
And they're people, no. The matinees, it's typically an older audience.
Oh, so they're all passing out.
I remember when I was in this play called Bronte, which is the life of Charlotte Bronte. And I would look on, it was a long, deep, dark, dramatic play, but I would look at the women in the front row, sound fucking asleep in the middle of my performance. And I'm like, I am up here giving it my all. I am crying. I am thrashing. And she's.
And you wonder where we were drinking.
You paid to come here and see that. I mean, at least in your situation, she didn't pay.
I was paying for this shit. But she also thought I drank too much. I remember that. And I was like, well, anyways, I would usually start talking about the amount of drinking between 2, so she would catch up. But speaking back on dating, so I don't think I've ever dated without drinking, ever. And I remember Brooks, my husband of 20 some years, him and I, so first day, so everything you're not supposed to do, we did. So first day, we go wasted. My friend Orly invited us to a party across Thompson Park Square, remember? This is like in the early 2000s, so it was still a little edgy. And we go to this party. We already had dinner, so we're a little tipsy already. And you have the nerve. And Brooks and I, the first 4 months of dating, dinner was like this. Hey, you want to share a green salad? Sure. So we'd share a green salad, have 2 bottles of wine, and then be like, nah, I'm good, and not eat anymore. It was ridiculous. Okay. So we did that. That was our first ever date. I think we shared a green salad, and maybe we shared another appetizer. Okay. And proceeded to drink.
So not a lot of food.
Not a lot of food. And he's 6'1". He's not a small guy. So then we go to this party, a real tipsy. And I remember we go in this place and there's loads of people and we're in our young 30s. So this guy has a 1-bedroom apartment or maybe a large studio and everything's white. I mean, everything is white.
Oh my God.
And he's got a white shaggy carpet and everything is white. There's not one thing that's not white. And we proceed to drink more. And just before we decide to leave.
Was he serving all colors of liquor. Because do you remember that used to be a thing where people would say no brown liquor in my house, like no red wine, no
this
brown.
Guy was like, everything's white, but bring whatever you want. And there was plenty of red wine. And Brooks, I'll never forget, is sitting on the couch comfortably, and he had a hit of pot. I don't do any drugs, but someone was smoking pot. So he had one thing. He smokes pot once every 6 years, right? So on top of the wine, and we're drinking more, and there's a glass, big full glass of red wine, and obviously Brooks knocks it off, and we see in our drunken stupor like this wine slow motion making its way to like the rug, and Brooks is like, I think we need to go, and we just hightailed out of there, drunk as skunk. And then we're in the taxi, and I'll never forget that, like, because I'm used to being rather drunk, so I remember a lot. I didn't black out. I wasn't a blackout kind of person, which is unfortunate because some shit I wish I didn't remember.
You didn't remember, yeah.
So I go, he's like, hey, I'm staying at the W. You want to come for a last drink at my hotel? Like that, we needed a last drink, like we needed an operation. Yeah. So I'm like, sure, but, I'm telling you right now, I would say that, hey, man, I'm going to go for a drink, but I'm not going to sleep with you. He's like, yeah. I was like, well, if I'm going to your hotel, I'm definitely going to sleep with you. And he's like, that's okay. So we settled on that. Went to his hotel, got more wasted, slept together. The next day, woke up. It's 10 a.m. and we're like, let's have mimosas. We were still drunk. And we went, and thankfully, it was Sunday, and in New York,
at least
back
it wasn't
in the days, and back in those days in New York,
bottomless mimosas everywhere,
but not before noon.
Oh, that's right. So no, I think that's still all right.
God, they saved us. I mean, I think I would have been like, oh shit, right? So that's how we started dating, and that whole drinking debacle, drink, salad, sex debacle lasted for 6 months.
Yeah,
and then we sobered up. Not much, but a bit. We started eating.
Right.
And, 22 years later, thank God, right? But it kind of makes me think of, that's one of the things that when I decided to stop drinking, that I was worried, and I was Googling, what do you do if your husband still drinks? Because our relationship was really anchored in
that. Absolutely.
Drinks. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, you want to go for a drink?
Yeah.
Hey, let's have a glass of wine. Yeah. I'm having a bad work day, I'm going to take you out for a cocktail.
Yeah.
A lot of that, not necessarily getting wasted, but I'm saying that the whole drink culture is a big deal between us. Yes. And so when I quit drinking, I was like,
nervous about it.
What is it going to do? Like, is he going to find me boring? Like, is he going to mourn this aspect of us? And I kept saying, like, am I boring now? Are you missing going for drinks with me? And Brooks is such an easygoing person that truthfully, he was like, no, I'm fine. And he meant like for him, because he goes with the punches, right?
Yeah.
But I was really concerned.
Legitimately.
Yes.
Right? So even though Andrew and I started our first date, and our early dating months were alcohol-free for me, we definitely went to plenty of restaurants where he had a glass of wine. Mm-hmm. I have seen Andrew drunk twice he's Mr. fucking moderation.
Right. Got
it. He doesn't get wasted. He knows when to stop. He has one of those great gifts.
Right.
Not everybody has it.
No.
He has it. He was like, I've had enough. I'm done. Now, there were plenty of nights in our lives where we would have a cocktail, a bottle of champagne, a bottle at dinner. So he and I, here's the difference. We would eat so much and drink so much.
Okay.
There were plenty of times we would go for a meal, and I'm sure, people would think, how are these two people consuming this much? But we would eat a full meal, a bottle of white wine after the champagne, a bottle of red wine with our main course, and then some kind of dessert wine.
Right.
And then find a way to be like, you need a nightcap? Of course we need a nightcap.
And we would do black sambuca.
Oh my God. No, I was an espresso martini girl. That was my after dinner drink of
choice. And then you're like this, you can't sleep.
No, listen, after you've had that much, by the time you hit the pillow, it's over. But so we had a lot of that. And also then we both, I had always collected wine. I had a little wine fridge in my teeny tiny apartment. And so absolutely the same thing. When I decided to completely stop drinking, I was worried about that too. And not only was I worried about it, I know, and Andrew and I have talked about this, he did mourn it. There's no question.
Did he? Okay.
Yes, yes. Because those experiences that we created, by the way, in our minds,
of course,
that they needed alcohol.
Right.
They didn't need alcohol.
Right.
You know, now I'm able to say, of course, we go on a weekend together, just the two of us.
Right.
We do all, I mean, we have had some, oh my God, the time we went on Amtrak from New York to.
I used to love to drink on Amtrak.
DC. Holy shit.
The
no,
worst
I bet you.
wine, but I love it with pretzels and mustard.
Nuh-uh. We were drinking cocktails.
They have cocktails on Amtrak? Or you did your own? You brought your own shit?
No. He was going back to the cafe car.
Okay.
To get, well, I think we were on the Acela.
Yeah. And I would drink wine on the Acela.
No, we were drinking gin and tonics. We were drinking gin and tonics.
Right.
And I shit you not. He came back after, I don't know, the fourth or fifth time, and they're teeny tiny little bottles.
Yeah, they're little bottles.
So he was buying 4 at a time so that you could put 2 and then mix it with your drink.
Right.
So each of us in a fucking plastic cup on a Friday afternoon on our way to DC.
I did that so much.
He came back. And this was one of the occasions, actually, in those years that I saw him drunk. He came back and he was like, I just vision his face right now. And he was like, we drank all the gin. And he had something else in his hand. Because I was like, what's that? And he's like, we drank all the gin.
Okay, we're not doing a good job at making NA life sound great. But I will tell you, I don't know I would do my 30s without those stupid.
No, this was a different chapter in my life. I say to everybody who's like, oh, you know, I couldn't do it. I'm like, I thought I couldn't do it.
Same.
For this exact reason.
Right.
All of these experiences we had were so intricately linked
to booze,
to being with booze.
Right.
But here's the flip side of it. Dating is associated with alcohol. You can do all of those things without alcohol if you choose to, right?
Yes.
We're not physically unable to do it. But the flip side of it is when you break up with someone, you're also told to drink.
Correct. And the thing that's funny, you're making me think, and you're right, and I'm definitely a product of hardcore. So the thing, I'm sure Brooks mourned it, but the thing about my husband is I call him a smart Forrest Gump. Brooks lives in his bubble and everything makes sense to him. So like, let's say the other day we were watching a movie and it was Grace Kelly, right? And I'm like, God, she's so pretty. And he's like, oh, you're prettier than her. It's like, no, I'm not. But in his head, I am.
Yes.
So when I quit drinking for him, it was like, that's my new life and that's a life I love and that's it. But so he's a bit bizarre like that, but I mourned it.
I'm sorry. That's not bizarre. That's love.
Yeah,
Brian.
so I'm lucky that he's like that. But I did mourn it. Like I'm not having a cocktail with you, right? But back on the dating, so I have a niece of mine. I have 2 nieces that are, if you think my sister's fabulous, they're just as fabulous, but put them in their 20s. So it's like ridiculous. And they're both like medical students and all that. Hot. And the one I'm talking about is like 22 or something. She looks like an Adonis. She's like 5'10", and she's like, and she doesn't drink by choice. She doesn't like it, right? Never cared for it. And now she has a boyfriend, but maybe last year or something, I'm like, she didn't. She was, dabbling between boyfriends, which that's a whole different conversation. It's different than what we did, let me tell you. And she likes to tell me the details. I was like, holy shit, I don't need to hear all these details. Anyway, that's a different chapter. But she was like, she's like, oh man. I was like, how are you still like single? I don't get it. You're hot, you're smart. And she's like, I don't drink. So it's hard to meet guys in bars. And I was like, what? Yeah. You can go to a bar even. She's like, I don't hang out in bars because I don't drink. And she has loads of friends. She's not a nerd. But I remember thinking, and I was drinking at the time, that's so sad that that's what we feel like. That we're not welcome in a social establishment because if you don't drink, then what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone has sold that. Right. That's changing.
That's changing.
My point is like, I'm such a victim of the marketing that was imposed on us, right?
Yes.
Like the culture and the marketing that's everywhere.
Correct.
And I think you absorb it without realizing it that, going out with friends, you're drinking, a date, you're drinking, you're breaking up, you're drinking. And when you think about it, we call it liquid courage. Mm-hmm. Now, personally, I'm not shy, so I've never done anything with booze that I wouldn't have done without in terms of shyness.
Yeah.
But I said a lot of shit that I wouldn't have said that the next day you're like, why did I say that?
I know.
Like it wasn't encourageous. It was stupid. I didn't even mean it. I didn't think it. It was inappropriate. It was mean. Or like, why did I just say that? I didn't even think it. Right?
Forget about the things you say
and the shit you do.
Shit you do.
That you'd be like, I'd never do that.
Oh my God. And when we were talking, you and I, about what we would talk about today, and you were so sweet because I was like, think about how many times you hooked up with people that if you were in your right sober mind, this would never have happened. Right. And you were so sweet. You were like, I don't know you want to talk about that in front of Andrew and he's in the sound booth. And I was like, well, you know, you and I are very, very secure in our marriages. And I don't think there is a story about me that my husband hasn't heard.
No, Brooks doesn't want to know.
Because, and I mean, he can absolutely, I'm not saying he loves to hear these stories. He doesn't want to talk about them.
I think he doesn't listen to podcasts because of that. He likes to live in his bubble.
Brooks doesn't even want to hear it. I know. Oh, yeah.
Like once I was like, you're not even curious how many guys I slept with. He's like, I don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
Okay.
He's like, nope. In his head, there's one and I was in. Maybe there was one before and that's it. I'm like, oh, baby, put a multiplier on that shit.
Yeah.
But
Andrew has no choice because he's running the soundboard.
But it's funny because the thing is like, do you have those, like the subway and the showers are places where I get memories back?
Now or back then?
My whole life.
A whole life. Subways and showers.
So
that's your memoir.
It's my memoir.
That's the name of your memoir right there.
That's great.
Isn't it?
Coffee and cigarettes, subways and showers. And when I'm on the subway, back then and now,
shit comes to you.
Like questionable hookups, questionable actions. And you're like, oh, fuck. Delete.
Which, by the way, you can't delete. I mean, I don't know if I have them in the shower. It's, someone asked me the other day, what are one of my favorite things about being alcohol-free now?
What is it?
And one of them is I never have to fucking worry what I did the night before.
Yes.
Like that freedom from worry. And I know there are many drinkers out there who never, ever had those nights where they're like, I don't remember what I did last night. However,
there's a lot
there is a lot that do. And I was very, very, very much one of those where I would, it's the period of the next day where the shit starts coming back, dawn on you.
Yes.
And you are like, oh God. I mean, there's the one thing, first of all, let's go back to me and dating, right? I dated my first boyfriend when I was 16.
Right.
No alcohol, a virgin, all of it for many, many more years.
Wow.
Right? Yes. I was the goody fucking two shoes you have ever met. I was at a convent school. They actually thought I was going to be a nun. Like for a period they were like, they said to my mother, we think she may join the convent. Meanwhile, I was like, what? No.
They never came to my house with that.
No. But I went to a convent boarding school.
Wow.
I was a very structured person. Yeah. I aced school. I went to mass with the nuns. I sang all the hymns. Like this was teenage
poster
Maxine.
Child. Wow.
And then I dated this boy who my dad used to own a hotel, one on the side, one of his businesses. And this guy who I was head over heels, your first love.
Yeah,
first
of course.
Love, first cut is the deepest. We'll never forget this guy. He and we dated probably on and off for a couple of years when I was in undergrad.
Right.
I didn't drink and we didn't have sex, right? Like it was the most pure, loving, developing relationship of love. Like it was like so beautiful. Meanwhile, my dad did everything in his power to break us up. God.
Totally cannot relate.
No, I mean, it really
sounds wonderful. I can see sparkles around you.
It was absolute
there's
unicorns
a
and rainbows.
rainbow coming out of your head.
This is what it was. And we used to, and he was, I think, a year or two older than me. He was a drummer.
Wow.
Oh my God, as I'm thinking now, Andrew's a drummer. I don't think I've dated drummers in between. I'm putting all of these things together.
And you started drinking Andrew sober too.
This is so funny.
Wow.
I feel like I need to go and unpack all this in my head later.
We would have definitely not met when we were kids.
Well, I mean,
I was punk.
Oh, you were punk.
I was punk,
See,
man.
I looked at girls in
Then
my...
alternative.
You know what? Actually, that's not true. Because one of my best friends in high school...
was punk.
Was so punk.
Oh.
She loved The Cure, and I loved the Pet Shop Boys, right?
Oh, God, you and Brooks would have hung out. No, I was, and The Cure is when I was feeling happy. Otherwise, I was going way darker than that. The Cure was when I was feeling like mainstream.
Like, this is the girl that had, as soon as the nuns turned their back, she rolled up her skirt. She had
shaved
Doc
your head.
She had absolutely one side of her head was shaved.
Oh my God, I
and
did
then the other side had a big whip over the
my
side.
dad got so mad that he took all the locks off the toilets because he said I looked like I was having brain surgery because I'd hide and shave all the side of my head real fast, and I had like the big thing here
over to cover it.
Oh man, and I studied with priests.
You weren't wrong. See,
no,
we would have been friends.
We would have been
because
friends.
That girl's name was Jean, and she and I were really close friends, and we were polar opposites.
And I went to Catholic school too.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter is dating right now, and she has this beautiful relationship with this lovely young boy in her school, and he comes and hangs out with us, and they're experiencing the beauty of connection.
Right.
And are they anxious? Of course they are.
Of course they are.
But they're doing it without alcohol.
Right.
So it's like with that we did it. We did it. Now you said you didn't.
I will say my first boyfriend, obviously my dad hated him. He was a rockabilly.
Isn't my dad too?
Yeah,
but
so we weren't drinking while dating. We were drinking, but we might not have drank the first time we dated, but we definitely drank. I was 15. We definitely have sex. I mean, Jesus, that's why I'm not putting this shit on LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think I've ever had one of those experiences. Mine were more like, you know,
yeah.
You know, there was booze involved and a naughtiness, but I do wonder, like, the way I feel now, and that's what I was asking Brooks the other day. I was like, I feel so much wiser. Is it because I'm old, or is it because I'm alcohol-free?
It's a combo. I mean,
it has to be because it happened too fast.
Yeah.
The wisdom, the feeling, the self-love that we're going to talk about, and the much more compassionate towards the other person, compassionate towards me. So let's say you're sitting in a date and you're anxious. All of that happened too fast to just be old age.
Yes.
So I wonder how... Like, so if, God forbid, is there wood in here?
Yeah, right behind you, everywhere.
Date again, I would definitely welcome doing it sober.
I mean, I love that you're
even
saying that. I'm like, if never. I mean, if anything, I'd be like signed up single for the rest of my life. But what I was talking about was the thing that one of the things that I get such joy from now is never wondering what I said.
So true.
Who I called.
So true.
Or back in the day, who I slept with.
Right.
You're like, shit.
Oh, that's.
It's like, it's not. And oh my God, we were talking about this because when I was telling you this story, when we were down for New Year's down in Miami, and we were watching all the walks of shame on New Year's Day, when I'm up like walking along the road in Key Biscayne off to the bakery to get stuff, and I'm like watching these people with the mascara, and I'm thinking about, Jesus Christ, I don't miss that.
That I don't miss. There were a few, right?
Walk of shame?
Yeah. And they weren't shameful because I never...
Well, listen, they're only shameful. That's what the phrase is in culture, right?
I never slept with someone that I was like, oh my God, I wish I didn't sleep with them. I've slept with plenty of people that if I had been sober, I wouldn't have slept with them just because I didn't find them that interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I wasn't like, oh my God, what did I do? But like, I remember one of them was with someone semi-famous. I won't name the person. And that's on television.
Oh, you're going to be telling me that off mic in a minute.
When we're off the mic.
Okay.
And walking out of his apartment directly to a girlfriend's apartment, because we had all gone out together the night before. And it's like, where have you slept? Oh shit, I'm still at XYZ. Fuck, what happened? You sleep with him? I can't remember. I'm coming over. And then as I'm walking over her house, like it's coming back at me.
It's all coming back.
You know, and some of it, you're like cringy, right?
Yeah,
you're like,
no, and that's the thing. It's the, so I think if there was a competition for most unbelievable walk of shame, I think I have it. And again,
what is
to talk about someone who did not grow up sexualized, did not lose my virginity till I was 19.
Wow.
Like, and was absolutely completely still for many, many years, well into my 20s and 30s, scarred by the Catholic upbringing and shame of sex, right? Like you're not allowed to talk about it. You shouldn't be doing it. You shouldn't be da-da-da-da. It's all bad, 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 bad,
I got scarred too.
So, you know, I grew up with all of that. And of course I carried that with me through my whole life. And I mean, and that's another amazing thing that has changed, is like having private time, completely sober. It's just such a different, amazing experience. Anyway, my walk of shame story is, this was my, you know, I was a serial monogamist a lot. So I dated my boyfriend in London, who everyone thought we were going to get married. We were together for 4 years. It was amazing. Then I moved to New York. He didn't want to come to New York. We broke up. We did the long distance thing. It didn't work. Blah, 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 blah. And then I entered what I call my Sex and the City years.
And usually when that happens fast and with a vengeance.
Oh, and shit. I mean, that was a decade.
It's like a whirlwind.
It was a decade.
Yeah.
Like maybe not a decade.
New York does that to you in your 30s.
Years, I lived like, and you know, this is back in my day when I was a corporate executive. I had a fancy corner office and I was making boatloads of money. And I partied like it was my job when I wasn't working. And I was working 50, 60 hours a week. I was, you know, I was a hard working woman and nailing my life in New York, even though all I ever wanted to do was be an actor. This wasn't at this time. And so I would party hard, and I mean hard. So this one particular weekend, it was in the summer, and I used to do the Hamptons thing, right?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I did the Fire Island thing.
Yeah, I did the Hamptons thing. And I wasn't one of those people that did that ridiculous, you know, 50 people share a house. Like, it wasn't that. I had a really good friend who lived out in Sag Harbor, so I used to stay with her. But I would take the jitney, head out for the weekend. Anyway, this particular weekend, we were at a gala. So we were at some kind of fancy event because I was in an evening gown. A gorgeous, I still have that gown, beautiful floral chiffon with sequins in certain little pots. It was so amazing. Anyway, we go to this thing and I'm staying at her house and we get beyond wasted, right? The two of us. And I don't recall any of the rest of that evening, but I do recall the next morning, and I wake up in this lovely young man's apartment.
And you don't even remember sleeping with him?
No. Yeah. So
that's also embarrassing for him. Why?
Well,
he was not impressive.
He must have remembered because he was like, "Good morning."
I'm saying, if you can't remember, it's the booze, and also he must have not have been like Stallion Marion, right? Like you can't even remember.
I don't think at that point it was going to matter.
Like,
but he's like, and I remember him. He was so lovely, and he was a photographer, and he had gorgeous.
Were you naked when you woke up?
I was in the bed, and then all that's left is the gown that's on the floor.
So something happened.
Oh,
definitely.
Certainly. I'm certain of it. We never, ever talked about again. No, about it. We never even
That's like me and my friend, a couple of friends. They never spoke to me again 25 years later. That's your story.
I don't know if this guy, his name was Ben, he was a photographer, he lived in Sag Harbor, or somewhere out in the Hamptons. But here's the problem with this walk of shame though.
Right.
So he's like, would you like a cup of coffee, or we go for a bagel? And I'm like,
what?
What?
Fuck no.
I was like, what time is it? And he's like, oh, it's early. It's like 8:30. And I'm like, what? I was like, oh my God, I'm on the 9 o'clock jitney for whatever reason. And it was those days where if you didn't get on the jitney and the rest of them were sold out, you were done. I wasn't getting back to the city. I had work on Monday morning. I was like, I've got to get on the jitney. I've got to get on the jitney.
And you're hungover.
So I call my friend Lisa, and I'm like, I am at
XYZ
house. And she was like, oh my God, I didn't know where you went. And I was like, well, that's where I went. And also now I have like 30 minutes to get to the jitney. And she was like, shit, you don't have time to come home. So she was like, all solving the problem. She was like, I will meet you at the jitney stop and give you your suit, like my little weekend suitcase.
Oh, wow. What a friend.
And I was like, I had to get on the jitney in the gown.
You're kidding.
Well, what? I met her
with like the drunk sweats,
makeup from the night before, the hair and makeup from the
it's like a 3-hour if there's no traffic?
Oh, see, and that's what it's. So I walk on the bus. The bus is completely full. I get there right before it pulls. It's like a movie fucking scene.
It's gross.
And everybody is on the bus looking at me, and I'm like, oh God, I can't even. And it's bad enough if you do that walk of shame, and then you're like home. Now I had to sit on the bus.
The subway, the bus.
Oh no, thankfully I was able to walk from the jitney stop in the city back. I actually just got a little bit nauseous thinking about that story. But it was like, so if I could have avoided that stuff, because I never look back with regret on super fun days. But now the fact that I never, ever again for the rest of my life wake up and have regret about what I mean, maybe you'll have regret for something you said in anger or da-da-da. But at least, you know, that like doing all of those things that I would never have done.
Right. And plus like you know, when people say like, I could never do what you're doing. I had this experience this January where like people are like, oh my God, you're so good. And I want to get off that subject because I feel as though I'm coming in like goody two shoes, like, you know, and people want to talk about like, oh, I don't know how you do it. Like I only drink 2 glasses. And I'm like, how did we get on that subject? I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, then they're making it about their relationship with alcohol. And you're like, that's none of my business.
But one other thing about that is also, I never thought that I wanted to quit drinking. And then I read a book and I was like, shit, I need to quit drinking.
Yes.
And the longer you quit and the less you want to go back to it. Yeah. You know, and I was comparing that. So I still have, so when we think about morning alcohol with a relationship, someone we drank a lot with, like for instance, stuff I would do with Brooks, like some travels come to mind sometimes. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to drink. We're going to sit in this cafe. And, you know, and there's a part of me that's like, oh, and then that goes away. But I equate it to, I don't know if you have that, but a lot of people, if they go on the side of a precipice, I have that. I don't like heights because if I go on the side of a precipice, I feel drawn to it. Like I need to step in the emptiness. And obviously I'm not going to do it. Right. Okay. But you have that feel like.
Freaking me out right now. Yeah, I'm not going to ever take you to the edge of anything.
No, like a lot, my mom has that too. Like you feel like drawn to the emptiness. So it's like it freaks you out. And so, you know, you're never going to step in. That's not something that's within your, it's not an option. So I feel the same way with booze. Like the longer you don't drink, the more it just becomes just not an option. There might be times where you're like, oh, wow, that could have been nice with a glass of wine because you're mourning something, right?
Yes.
But it's just not an option. So I think that's why eventually you don't get cravings. You know? So when people are like, oh, you do it, you know, I could never do it. I'm like, you need to do it long enough.
That is the thing. And so many of these amazing books have been written about that exact thing. And I say to people who ask me that same thing too, and I'm okay talking about it. Like I really am, because I want people who were in my position 18 months ago, where if you had said to me, you're going to live alcohol free, I would have said, oh, fuck no. There's no way I can do that. I would have said, oh, me too. No. Absolutely. I would have said, absolutely not. I can give up a lot of shit. I'm not giving up wine. I would have specifically said, I'm not giving up red wine. And so the reason I'm okay to talk about it, and the whole reason behind this goddamn podcast, is to be able to say, if you're thinking about it and you're worried that you can't do it, you can. I'm telling you that you can. And so for me, when I was explaining it to this woman the other day, I said, I never went into an alcohol-free life saying I am done forever. I never went into it with that plan.
Me neither.
I went into it with a plan though, because I need plans. Mm-hmm. I know there's the everyday, the AA thing, every day, one day at a time, I needed a structure. And for me, it was the 75 hard.
Got it.
Right. And going into it and saying for 75 days, I am not going to drink.
Right.
Was not hard for me.
Got it.
But also probably because I thought there was an end date, right? As we have done, we've talked about how there are always periods where you give it up for a little while and you're like, I have no problem with that because I know I'm going to drink again.
Right.
The unbelievable struck me down because I had no idea this was going to happen to me was I started getting anxiety about drinking again.
I can see that. Because early on, And that's what I thought, like in my case, and everybody's brains work different, and we're not against alcohol. We just know what you're putting in your body. Like the marketing is not true. It is a poison. It's like, as long as you're cool with it, like it's like cigarettes. Everybody knows it's a poison. Some people still sometimes smoke in a party. They know what they're doing. They're doing it occasionally, and they know it's a poison. What we kind of both, I think, agree that we're standing up against is like, just know what you're doing. It's not good for you. It's killing your inside. So just know what you're doing. And one of the thing is that in my case, so everybody's brain works different. You needed a structure and then the end date. And I can see how thinking of drinking was making you anxious because in my case, I needed to understand alcohol. And once I read all the books on your brain and stuff, I understood it. I was like, shit.
And you can't unlearn it.
And it would have made me, and I remember I quit drinking 4 days before my birthday. I've told that story before. And we went to a restaurant in town and Brooks was like, I have a glass of wine, maybe stop like tomorrow. It's your birthday. It's only been 4 days. And I couldn't. It wasn't a rule. It's once you understand something, you're like, it's like if you understand that this is actually dog shit, once you see this is dog shit, you don't want to drink it. Right?
And it's different for everyone.
So that's what I'm saying. Everyone's brain works differently.
But I think one of the things we don't give ourselves is enough time, right?
Correct.
And there's plenty of science out there on this, and I did too. I became obsessed
with the science,
with the books, with the stories of how women mostly how women did it. And these are, a bunch of these are all my favorite books that we have here. I was like, oh my gosh, and every single one of those, how they narrated their story were all so different from the woman who left her kid in a hotel room and went overnight and hooked up with some guy and left her 9-year-old by themselves. And she was there. She was like, I didn't even realize back then how bad it was until I stopped. To the lady who was a fabulous high-flying corporate executive, but drank every single day of her life. But was still a huge success, and like I say about this, it's the spectrum. We're all on it somewhere. If you drink, you're on the spectrum. You might be on really one low end of it where you don't drink very often, couple of glasses a year,
And you're right. The thing, it's time. You're right about that. And that's what, for instance, Brooks still drinks way less than he did because I was the instigator. And the only reason, and I don't talk to him about it, I told him just once, and not like he doesn't drink during the week. He drinks 80% less than he used to. But the only reason I would have loved it if eventually he would quit. And not for me, I don't care. I don't even realize when he drinks or not. It doesn't even, I don't think about it. But as I said, I've studied the science a lot, and you know what it does to the body and the mind. And you know that if you quit more than 3 months, you start feeling different to a point where you don't want to drink anymore. And that's the thing, why
sober October, dry January,
it's not
Lent,
long enough.
Your body hasn't done the adjusting. And so for me at 75 days, when I said, it was such a turning point for me. But again, I wasn't saying never.
When
I remember it was the first week in December in 2024. And I was like, I have anxiety about drinking, so I'm not going to drink. If I choose to not drink through the holidays, I'm going to extend this 75 hard and do it again and do 150. It was during the second 75 hard that my body went through the change where I was like, oh, we are never going back.
It takes it took me past 3 months. So that's why when people, and again, nothing against dry January, dry February, whatever.
No.
But it's just long enough for you to just remember the pain of quitting. Without all the benefits, feeling like
so there's an amazing company and a fabulous guy called Rory Fairbanks, and his company is called 1 Year No Beer.
Oh, yes.
Right?
This guy's pretty cool.
They are so cool. They are so inspirational, and they're fantastic what they do and the system that they have in place to support people who are like, I don't know how to do this. But a year, can you imagine? Because that's what happened to me. When I got to the point where I felt so good, I was like, oh, I don't want to go back.
No, that's right. It's
and then I was
wanting.
like, I'm done. And but I know plenty of people who are like, oh, I extended it to 4 months. And then I was like, you know what? Done 4 months, might as well do 6 months.
Right. And then
you know
next
what?
thing you know,
6 months in, let me do a year.
Right.
And then when you're past your year mark, you're like, oh shit. It's
and
like,
it's like
passing that Rubicon, right? Where
even,
you're like, I don't need to go back.
But even with that, even with not wanting to drink, I don't want to, there's still times that you'll think of something upcoming. Like for me, a trip is often a not a trigger. Because like, I don't like to use trigger because that makes it sound like I actually have to be like, oh shit, I can drink.
No, but it's just a trigger. Like it's a trigger in the back of your brain that for the previous 2, 3, 4 decades was associated
and you're
with
like,
alcohol.
Oh, what am I going to do now that I'm not going to drink?
You didn't have a lobotomy. That stuff is still there.
It's still, it gets like triggered. You're right. Not for a craving, maybe but you get a trigger where you're like, huh.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll figure it out. Right.
Well, you know what? I mean, also, that's how trauma works, right? It's the stuff that's in the back there that it's like something sparks it. So I haven't had one of those recently, but I remember talking about this to another friend of mine who's alcohol free, how the first year is when you do all your firsts.
Right.
Your first birthday alcohol-free. Right. Your first Valentine's alcohol-free. Your first vacation on spring break. Like for me, that was a big one. Yeah. Because we go to Turks and Caicos every year as a family. It is unequivocally my favorite week of the year. We go for 7 to 9 days. It's just Andrew and I and the kids in the glorious, blissful surroundings of Turks and Caicos. And it's an all-inclusive resort that we stay in. And so it was such a, I got nervous about it because when you walk into the resort, they hand you a rum punch.
Don't you wish they had alcohol-free shit?
Yeah, they do. They do because this is a family resort.
Right, okay.
So they would always give 2 to the parents and 2 to the kids.
Right.
And so I was just nervous about being in that experience where the guy is coming to the beach at 11 o'clock going, may I bring you a little juice with a little something in it? And that's how you live that week. And it's associated with relaxing and da-da. So I was really nervous about that.
Right.
We're going again this coming spring. Yeah. I have no qualms about it now. I did all the things. I did my first Christmas. I did my first New Year's. I did my first birthday. I did my first sober sex. I did all of that stuff in the first year. And so now I'm like, there's no more firsts.
Right. I still get triggers. And by the way, do you drink a lot of NA? I drink as much of that stuff as I drink booze. So I start getting a little acidity. So I need to, so I'm an excessive,
no,
I drink every day.
I don't drink as much, but I love the fact that last night when we were having dinner and I had like a really full day of meetings and and then I made this beautiful dinner and I was exhausted when I sat down with the kids and I thought talk about a trigger, right? It's the famous mom wine o'clock, mom juice time, But I still had the thought, I was like, I would love a glass of wine right now.
So did you have an NA wine?
I had a lovely glass of NA wine.
But that's the thing, I'm still downing, like now I'm cutting it down, but I could easily down a bottle a day.
Yeah. Well, the amazing thing is there's no calories in it either.
No, it's not that, but it's the fucking acidity, man. You can't get anything for free.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, sometimes my throat got sore. My mom's like, why do you have to be excessive? I'm like, because I'm fun, man.
You're like, because I'm amazing. Have you met me?
I listen to The Cure when I feel happy. Come on, man. What do you think? Hi, hello. So anywho, back on our list. Let's roll this party back to sex, drugs, rock and roll, and NA wine. So Valentine's Day, you had other fun stuff on there. Let's see.
Oh yeah, well, no, I mean, actually, we were talking about, and this is something that I say to people all the time when they ask about my favorite thing about is the self-love. It's how much I fucking love myself.
Yes. And that's the part where I was wondering the other day, is it because I'm old or is it because I'm alcohol-free? And it's got to be a lot because of the alcohol-free because it happened too fast.
100%
And I didn't age in 1 year.
Because you've turned off, right? One of the things that I hated so much about my drinking roller coaster was the self-loathing that I felt any day I woke up with a hangover.
Me, it was just, I didn't realize it at the time. I realize it now because it's gone. It's just a general self-loathing. Nothing to do with the hangover. I didn't care that I had a hangover. I didn't care that I drank too much. It didn't bother me. I drank too much every day. And I was like, hey, man, that's how I roll, right? But now that I don't drink, I don't dissect myself so much, like hate myself. And when we were thinking about the sex and the love without the booze, I remember thinking the one thing that came to mind is all these years where I was taunter and younger, and I would go have sex with someone.
What word did you say? Taunter.
Taunter, like shit's tighter.
Oh,
that's not a real word. Hey man, it is now. Bring on the lexicon. But you know, like shit was in the right place,
that is a word.
right? And I was in my 30s, and you'd be like, you know, wearing your bra in front of the guy.
Oh yeah,
Whereas now, let's say I'd have to date again for some reason, which knock on. I hope never, because I have the best husband. But I would give a fuck.
I'm so glad he's not listening to this.
If you don't like the boobies down here, it'd be like, you know what? Somebody will. And that's the difference. I would have never felt this way a year ago. A year ago, I'd still be like, or like.
Because can I tell you what it is?
What is
it is for me?
What is
it? I think it probably is for you too.
What?
It's a level of contentment.
And I think removing the booze does that.
Of course it does, because it takes out I used to think about that, you know, I would happily not drink at all during the week, right? And easily not drink Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's like all bets are off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And instead of my weekends being these amazing things like I do now, I play tennis at fucking 7 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. And that's not me being high and mighty.
No.
That's just me saying I have the energy, the clarity, and the health to do it. Do you know how many things I canceled in my life on Saturday morning?
Oh, God. And plus, the alcohol also changes the structure of your brain. A lot of neurotransmitter, and I forget all the science because it's complicated, that makes anxiety. And in my case, anxiety was turned towards myself, right? Like,
and the flip side of that now is what I am living through is that I don't have that cycle of self-loathing coming back and back because it feeds itself. It's like a mushroom, right? It's like it's growing because I keep doing better things, and it keeps making me feel better about myself.
Seriously, I never thought like, and again, I like. One of the things when I quit smoking, it was the fear of being a goody two shoes. I was so afraid of that. I was like, I can't.
Listen,
what am I gonna? And now, like that's gone away, right? But not to sound like goody two shoes or anything, because that was my biggest fear. I was like, well, worst case, I quit drinking, I start heroin, right? Like, but it's unbelievable how much better your mind is. And I didn't think my mind wasn't good. I thought I was on top of my game. I woke up at 5 in the morning. I drank a bottle and a half a day. My career is soaring. There was nothing wrong with me except acid reflux from drinking too much and knowing that I was an alcoholic. But I didn't care. I was fine with that. Right. But once,
you were the classic functioning alcoholic. Your life is going along fabulously.
That was fine. But once it had been over 5 months, roughly, that I wasn't drinking, I didn't even know that the way I feel now existed.
Correct.
I didn't know you could feel better. I thought I was feeling great.
No,
but I wasn't.
And it's the feeling of aging backwards. Like I've always been the person who's like, I literally don't believe my age sometimes. I'm like, how the fuck am I this age? Like I don't, and I have no qualms about getting older. I always talk about, the alternative is that you're dead. So, let's be very grateful for every single year that you have. And I had a very scary health situation that brought me to the face of going, I might not leave this hospital. And so
we both did about the same. Yes.
So it's like when you, the combination of all of those things, but for me, the feeling of it's like it's why we fucking call this happy as fuck.
Right. Correct.
It's because I really want to bottle it. And I want to, we've also had to deal with the haters, right? And let me tell you, the same as you feeling that you were a goody, you didn't want to be goody two shoes, right? People going, shut the fuck up about not drinking. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Challenge. You just go listen to something else.
Oh yeah, well,
don't listen to Dr. Oz.
We get some of it on YouTube, and thank goodness we don't.
I don't watch.
You don't even look at it. But
no.
I've seen some of the stuff, and I had an amazing publicist. Shout out to Dixie, if you're listening. Many, many years ago, that worked on my music with me.
Right.
And I mean, I got I still do. You get so much hate on the internet from, I'm like, well, why do you need to take the time to write something hateful if you don't like it? It's like, this is one finger effort. Boop.
But that's like I was telling you the other day, right? It's like orange juice. Orange juice is, most people love orange juice. It's really fucking good for you. But then you have the couple of people that really hate orange juice, and they're allowed. But you know what? They just don't drink it.
Yeah.
So like, you know, you
it's
can't
like, why are you
please
listening if you don't want to
everybody.
hear it? It's like some guy writing on our page the other day, nobody gives a fuck if you drink or not. I'm like, well,
He said
actually,
that?
yeah. I was like, well, I do. And she cares.
I care.
And actually, we've got lots of listeners who care. So fuck you.
Like, I never want to hear any comment,
so
nothing
here's
good,
what I
not
was going
about.
to tell you about Dixie.
Yeah.
So she told me this years ago, and it has never, ever left me. It was the most valuable lesson. She said, and I had just released a song, and I saw a bunch of like people going, "You fucking ruined that song. You suck. You da da da." And I remember her saying to me, she was like, "Never. You may never, ever
engage
ever with the trolls."
No.
She was like, "I know you want to explain to them how you didn't ruin the song and how they could just interpret it differently or da da da. I know that you want to do that, but you're like," she was like, "This is an internet troll. This is somebody who has sat down at their computer and decided they want to say something fucking hateful to you. So you must not." And so now it's like, never engage. But here's the thing, and there's a lot of it now, not just for us, right? I see plenty of posts now. They're like, everybody on this alcohol-free movement needs to shut the fuck up. I'm like, okay, sorry. We live in a world where every goddamn ad is about alcohol. Every movie is about alcohol. If somebody's got a glass of wine, somebody's got a da-da. What do you mean we can't talk about being alcohol-free? Why can't we? If everybody is talking about how much they drink, we should be at the least equal. Can't you let us talk about?
And by the way,
last
time I checked, we're still in a country where we can talk about what the hell we want.
For now.
So F off. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like it, move to Russia right now for now. But you know what I'm saying?
But it's that kind of stuff that for all of my life and my career as an artist, you got to have a tough skin.
Right.
People are just there to tear you down and take away from your success or your happiness. And that's something that makes me sad when it's like, let us have this moment of happiness and let us spread the joy. Like,
but
that's what we're doing here.
I'm not asking permission. Let us.
I'm
taking that time.
No, but as you know, my friend Mel Robbins says, let them. Let me do my thing. You do your fucking thing. By the way,
this is for people that are interested to listening to it. This is for people that are sober curious or wonder after you quit drinking, how do you feel? This is for people that want to hear about two old farts, old days, walking of shame. I like old farts. I own it. And for those who don't like it, thankfully, all our iPhones have an off button, man. So just swipe left or right. You know what I'm saying? Just
but the great thing to do, and this is another thing that very wise people in my life over the years have helped me with as an artist, is it is human nature for us to hone in on the criticism, right? To hone in on the things that someone says about you as an actor or an artist or whatever. And it's the same with this, when in fact, 1,000-fold more people are getting joy out of your performance or getting joy out of this. And it moves me in such an immense way when some total stranger will write to us on social media or somewhere and say, this was the greatest compliment. I don't even think I've told you this. This lady, this wonderful woman who I really, really like. And I bumped into her a couple of weeks ago and she was like, "I want you to know that I have an alarm on my phone for 5 o'clock on Thursdays so that I remember to tune in and listen to you guys."
Oh, that's so sweet.
And
that's all the thing. Like I was thinking the other day, I still want to listen or read books and podcasts. Everybody wants to feel part of a tribe. And I'm still looking for other people and how it went for them.
Yes.
And this is what we're doing. We're just a version how it went for us.
It's community. And listen, in the world that we live in now, where we are so digitized, we are so physically removed from each other so much of the time, creating these kinds of communities. And it's amazing to see these alcohol-free bars popping up everywhere. And these, oh my gosh, CNN Travel did we always run out of time, but because I really want to add what we just read this week's segment, because there's always so many great things that I read. I mean, you and I are constantly just sharing shit with each other all the time. But CNN Travel just did this whole piece about the alcohol-free travel industry, where they are curating these events in the Himalayas and all of these things, where it's not about whether or not you drink alcohol, right? No. That's not the purpose of the trip, but it is creating a community of like-minded people who are not focusing the trip on alcohol.
Right.
And it's like, and that's what you and I found in each other.
Correct.
And that's how this podcast ended up happening, is we found somebody on the journey that made the journey better.
Correct. And listening to other people's stories and how their journey went.
Yes. And how different they are.
And how, by the way, there's more and more people that are choosing to not drink for so many reasons. And it's hard to go against the grain.
Yeah.
And sometimes it feels isolating. So to listen to other people's journey and maybe have a laugh at it, it just lifts you up and you're like, all right, I'm back on my journey and I'm good.
And it makes you feel part of something.
Exactly.
Right? Especially if the other thing that you have been part of for such a long time is so hard to leave.
Right.
It is hard to leave
move away because it's everywhere, and you're told that you're part of a community. If you drink that beer, if you drink that wine, you're part of the group. Especially people like us who I studied sommelier for 4 years. You collected wine. So you were going up the echelon of wine drinking. You were part of the elite. And so there was this whole fraternity going on that you're walking away from, it feels like. So, we make fun of quitting drinking, but there's an emotional attachment that's not that easy to quit.
No.
It's much more difficult than the physical part.
And I'm not saying it's...
and so this is what this is for, to have another fraternity to channel into.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I love it. And that's what we're here for.
Yes.
We're here to entertain and inspire. That's it. And if we don't do that for you, then scroll on by.
And if you have a date, so this is going to be Valentine.
Yes.
So a couple of things you need. A good La Petite Victoire, a box of condom. That's about it, really. And you know what? If you're feeling anxious about your date, so is the other person.
Yeah.
So you guys are on the same plateau.
Yeah.
So
and I think the other thing is, as we touched on today, is just the firsts, right? If you decide that you're not drinking alcohol, you're going to do a lot of things, not really for the first time, but for the first time again.
Right.
Right? Because, although we said you didn't probably ever go on a first date, but without alcohol. But do you know what I mean? You've had plenty of birthdays sober when you were before you drank alcohol.
Correct.
So they're firsts as an adult for many people, and that's what we are doing here, is creating that space for you to explore it and maybe feel inspired. And I just keep going back to the mantra for me, which is, if 18 months ago you said to me I would live without alcohol, I would have said you're out of your goddamn mind.
Never.
So it's the living proof thing.
Correct.
It's right. And I'm not a wallflower. In fact, somebody this summer said to me, she was like, you're fucking crazier than you were with alcohol.
Well, my friend,
and I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment.
Oh my God, my friend Jose, once when I quit drinking, after a few months, he was like, are you sure you're not on coke? I was like, oh my God. So that was probably the best compliment. I was like, dear Lord, so I'm not boring.
Life.
I was so happy. I could have licked his face. It was the best thing.
Oh my God.
But he has a beard, so I didn't. And his husband was right there. So awkward.
I mean, on that note, with my vision, my envisioning you licking some guy's face, we're going to call it a day.
That would have been a first sober. I have never done that drunk nor sober. Maybe there's one on the list.
Andrew's right in there if you want to give it a try.
Andrew, come over here, baby. And he's like, fucking I leave.
Run out in the snow right now. He's like gone. He's gone. Oh my gosh. Everyone, Thank you for listening. We have such fun doing this. And like we said, we're here to entertain you, maybe inspire you. We are alcohol-free and happy alcohol-free.
We're happy as fuck. Happy Valentine's Day. Don't do anything that I wouldn't do, so that leaves the field wide open. Box a condom, la petite victoire, and you're good to go.
Oh my gosh, we will see you in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening. Mwah.
Bye.